The final menu I'll be adding to my game is going to be a pause menu. And this one's going to be a bit different because I want it to be overlaid over the top of my game. So I'm going to add it to my global canvas layer. And the type of node I'm going to add is called a color rect, which does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a colorful rectangle. I'm going to center it to the middle using the center anchor preset. And I'm going to actually make this just a black color, but with quite a bit of transparency on it. Something around there for transparency, and then just make it a bit bigger. And to get this sort of all nice and precise, I'm also going to turn on grid snapping, and then just kind of have a nice box here. This box is going to be my pause menu. In fact, I'm going to rename it from color rect to pause menu. I'm going to add a label to it that says paused. We'll go label, text paused, and we'll make this fairly big. Label settings, font size of, we'll just go with 32. Paused, that seems alright. We'll put that in the middle, and then just move it down a little bit. I can do that with snapping now. That's looking nice. And then I'll have some buttons on here that let me do different things like restart and, well, unpause will be the most important button. Let's add button. We'll call this unpause button resume button, and the text can say resume. Let's also center that one to the top center, and just drag it down a bit to there. Let's make all these buttons kind of a consistent size with each other. Control D, get another button that I'll call save. Drag that one down. It's nice having it snap to everything. Call that one save. We could have one for load. Load button. Make the text say load, and then drag that one down. You may not want to load, you might just want to restart the current level. So we'll have another button that does that. We'll call this one restart. Call the text restart. Restart level. Restart's a bit vague. Call it restart level. So now I'll resize the rest of these buttons. There, there, there. Snapping makes this far easier. And then I'll have one for quit. Call it quit button. I'll drag that one down a bit. And maybe you want a separate one for save and quit. So let's duplicate this one. Call that one the quit button. Call this one save and quit. You probably won't need all these buttons in one single pause menu, but I just kind of want to give people an example of, got those around the wrong way, quit, save and quit, of all the different things that you might want to have in a pause menu. And none of them are too bad to add code to, so we'll just add them all. Save and quit. There's a bunch of buttons to have in our pause menu. Looks like I've maybe made it a bit too high, so easy to drag that down to a nice size. And now that it's no longer centered, I should just be able to center it back to the top, center it back to the middle, and it's centered again. There is my nice pause menu with heaps of buttons inside it. Now we'll add a script to our pause menu. We'll call it pauseMenu.gd. And we'll hook up all of the buttons. So go resume button, button pressed, save button, button pressed. Just connecting all the signals for button pressed for each of these many buttons. Save and quit. And save. And most of these are fairly straightforward. The save button is going to run GameState.SaveGame. the load button is going to run GameState.loadGame. The restart button is going to run GameState.reStartLevel. P there. The save and quit button is going to run two things. First, it's going to run GameState.saveGame, and then it's going to run getTree.quit, and the quit button is going to run getTree.quit. The only one that's going to be particularly original is going to be this resume button, which is going to undo what we do to pause the game. So what we do to pause the game is going to be in our player script for now. It's going to happen when I click escape. Right now, when I hit the escape button, we are making the mouse visible again, which we want to have because we want to be able to click the buttons in our pause menu. But we also want to do two extra things now. The first one is we want to show our pause menu. So I'll get my global canvas layer and find the node that I've called pause menu with get node pause menu. And I'll do .show. So at the start of the game, the pause menu should not be shown, it should be hidden. So I'm going to click on this I. And then I'm going to run getTree.paused and set this to true, saying that the tree is now paused. That will pause my entire game. You've already done this in the 2D game, in fact. So, to undo this on my resume button, I am going to actually just copy this from player. I'm going to go to pause menu, and we're going to run set mouse mode back to captured. We're going to do pause menu.hide, and then we're going to set the tree's paused state to be false again, and we're going to go back to our game. So we should be able to start a new game, see that the pause menu is hidden until I hit escape, and then everything completely freezes, but it freezes so much that I can't even click any of the buttons in my pause menu. So there is one thing that I need to fix, which is to click on pause menu, and then down here in the node section at the very bottom, I open up process that says when it should process all of the code in the pause menu. And instead of the default, which means it only processes when the game is not paused, I'm going to select this option, when paused, that says the code for the pause menu will only run when the game is paused. Now I should be able to see that if I pause my game, everything is frozen except for the pause menu. I can now click resume and it goes back to normal. I can click quit and it quits the game. But some of the other options have a bit of a weird behavior at the moment. If I try to load the game from the start, it works, it takes me back to the start of the level, but now I'm stuck because my mouse has been captured and it hasn't unpaused the game. So the only option left to me is to quit the entire game with Alt F4. What I want to have happen is for the game to unpause when I click on one of the options like save or load. And I could do that just by copying all three of these lines into the save and load functions, but since they're already in this function, on resume button pressed, I'm just going to run that function. On resume button pressed, when I save, and when I load, and when I restart. That should get those three functions working quite nicely. Now when I load the game, it unpauses and I go back to the start of the level. And the same with those other options. They also do what they're supposed to do as well as unpausing the game. That'll be it for this video.